Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. As I had the pleasure and privilege of being at the opening session, I also have the pleasure and privilege of being here for this closing session. And on behalf of President Bayralik and myself, all the members of the Board of Trustees, our Secretary General, Roshan Muradov, and all our staff, we thank you all for being here tonight. Our proceedings will be relatively short. Nevertheless, I think it will be quite nice to finish that so you can have a more uninterrupted time for your meal. So, as we come to the close of our proceedings, we started, after all, on our journey of hope. All of us carrying within us the burden of the challenges that we know. Global challenges, sectoral challenges, regional challenges, and above all, human challenges. And we recognize that what we are doing here is an exploration. We were sent on the path of the hope by the opening speech of His Excellency President Ilham Aliyev, and we went through a wide range of panel discussions, even a few night-hour sessions, late at night, and even a couple of luncheon sessions as well. So discussion was everywhere. In the end, it was all about exploring, and we all learned from our exploration. And as T.S. Eliot has said about exploration, that there is a fundamental starting point, which is the respect for our common humanity. And he said, we shall not cease from exploring, and that after all this exploration, we will come back to the point of our departure and recognize it for the first time. So under discussion of globalization, under discussions of climate change, under discussion of food security, under discussion of politics, war, peace, at the end it is all about people, human beings, and our common humanity. And we were privileged at the end of our proceedings today, just before we came here, after the regional panels that we had went through dealing with the Balkans, the Middle East, and Africa, we had a chance to listen to our young people. And in fact, we had three separate panels for our young people to give us their reflections. And they had, in addition to that, we also had the privilege of having our honored guest, Kailash Satyarthi, who came and spoke to us in the midst of the youth gathering, and appropriately so, for he is a man who devoted his life to fighting child abuse, child slavery, child labor, and promote education, liberty, and sense of belonging. All right, I guess the people in the back needed that. I hope you can hear me now. So as I said, we met here for a journey to look at the challenges and the hopes of the world today. And we were launched on the path of hope by the speech of His President Ilham Aliyev at the opening session. And then we went through a variety of panels, including global panels, sectoral panels, public health for all, food security, etc. And we came to regional panels as well, the Balkans, Middle East, Africa, and then we ended with our youth panels. Normally we had only one youth panel. This time we had three, and I'm happy to say that it was quite inspiring to listen to the young people and what they had to say. I told them, and I think for those who want to know, we have recorded the entire session, and therefore people who want to see the entire session, they can do so. And within that session, we were also privileged to have had an intervention from our honored guest, Kaila Satyati, who has been a champion who crusaded for the rights of children to abolish child labor, child exploitation, and encourage the development of education and citizenship and community. And he told us in his inspiring way the 3 Ds. Dream, dare to dream big. Discover, find within you the way, capacity to move forward, and then, most important, do it now, move now. All of us, I think, have been moved by that message, but I think for those of us who were present all the way to the last session, it was quite inspiring to hear the messages of these young people. I will not try to summarize any of our many sessions, explorations. We will, as we normally do, write a report about this, and I may even write another book about reflections of what I heard in this session. But I would like to bring this closing session onwards, and I will start, if I may, by inviting Mr. Melia, who is the President of the Republic of Albania, if he wishes to share with us some thoughts. Mr. President, the podium is yours.
Good evening, everyone. Most honorable guests, dear participants. I'm happy to be tonight among you and glad we are joined together at the finalization of this forum that approaches the global condition through opportunities rather than hardship. We can consider the world in terms of threat, and in this regard, war is ongoing at the doors of Europe. In various countries, there is a turnaround in terms of human rights and democracy. Cyber attacks have been growing, and new security challenges involving food and health security has been rising. My country, Albania, has been target of cyber attacks in growing intensity, but with decreasing success as well. What to a cyber power may appear as a small country and an easy target is actually a free country, very determined to protect its integrity and to contribute towards peace. And here comes the difference between creating hardship versus joining forces to respond to challenges, including that of safe and affordable energy, in which Albania and Azerbaijan have been developing a sound collaboration. From 2013, our governments have been worked with intensity, particularly on Trans-Adriatic pipeline project, connecting the Caspian and the Adriatic Sea through the southern energy sector and corridor. This means strategic empowerment of many countries within and beyond Europe, and creating a source of sustainable hope for all concerned economies, let them be bigger or smaller ones. This major energy corridor project is a source of opportunities for the whole region that is living in an area of peace, although we need to reinforce our collaboration, particularly by resolving the Serbia-Kosovo mutual recognition situation and thus enlarging the intensifying regional initiatives. In this regard, we believe in enlarged partnership, like the ones that we have with the United States or Turkey, both strategic allies of Albania, and the cooperation with Azerbaijan that support country-wise as much as region-wise prosperity. In the contemporary world, technologies bridges physical distances. This is actually the greatest hope and the greatest challenges that we face. It makes us sharing changes and obligations. In this regard, our common project included energy, but not only, our shared promises as much as shared responsibilities. Nowadays, more than ever, we have this shared accountability, which is the climate crisis. I understand it is planet existential risk and a need for respect of natural resources, circular economies, and sustainable development of territories. The latest health crisis showed us that we cannot afford disparities among regions and nations. On the contrary of many assumptions that private sector has taken over, the global COVID crisis proved beyond doubt that states, governments, and international institutions are the decisive voice in global scale. This means also that they bear the final and fundamentally responsibility. My country is aware of that responsibility and is working hard to face it. The institution that I am leading will contribute on intensifying collaboration, like the one that we have with Azerbaijan, in creating a world of safe and clean energy and food, ensuring fair societies and significant responses to climate crisis. We owe this to our young generation. And I think speaking of younger generation here is particularly meaningful since we honor the memory of the President Haidar Aliyev, whose heritage to his country's young generation is a modern, fair, and powerful Azerbaijan. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. If I may now call on His Royal Highness Prince Turki Faisal for some concluding remarks on what he saw and experienced in these particularly rich 3 days. Your Royal Highness, please.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Ladies and gentlemen, I shall not be like Polonius and promise you brevity and give you a long speech. But following from the President's remarks, all I can say is that this congregation is the congregation that I wish to be in every year. Not only because of the wonderful hospitality of the President of this country and those responsible for it, the two co-chairs and Rofshan, but also all the workers that make it possible not only to enjoy the discussion, but also the wonderful banquets that we've been sharing every year. So all I can say is good luck to all of us in all our endeavors. And we hope to have discussions like we had today. I was blown up and blown out by what Mr. Olmert said about peace in Palestine. And I wish that his vision, will be implemented. And I wish that his vision will be implemented for peace deriving from the Arab Peace Initiative. So let us go forward and hopefully get over all of the terrible conflicts that surround us, not just in our part in the Middle East where we're used to conflict, but now in other parts of the world where they have not been used to conflict. No to aggression, no to occupation, no to enslavement, no to any of the issues that downgrade the values of humanity. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Your Royal Highness. And now, if I may turn to His Excellency, Under Secretary General of the United Nations, Mr. Miguel Angel Moratinos, who is also the High Representative of the Alliance of Civilizations. Your Excellency, the floor is yours.
Good evening, Excellencies, my dear friends. What an audience when I look to this fantastic ballroom, to such a level of prestigious personalities. It really impressed me. So I have to first thank the organizer, the co-chair, Roxanne, everybody has made it possible. And that they have decided that I could address you in the first day with my introductory remark and the last day in the concluding session. Every year in January, the international agenda started with two important fora. The Davos Economic Forum, and then followed by the Security Conference in Munich. They are good forums. They are good fora. They discuss financial issues, economic issues, private sector. In Davos, in Munich, they discuss security, war, international relations. But we are here in Baku, in the 10th Global Forum of Nizami Ganjavi, trying to decide what is the world going on and how challenge and hope can shape our common future. And I have to say, because I'm fully convinced that our forum of these last 3 days is much, much better. It's much, much better for three reasons. First, because we have a multifaceted approach. We discuss, as Ismail had said, economy, security, cultural, energy, food security, regional problems, all interact because the complexity of today's world is a reality. Secondly, because you have a plural approach. In the participation, we have people from Africa, people from Asia, people from the Western, European, North American, Central Asia, Western Balkans, a full participation of what is today the world. And also we have a plural approach to the question. I don't know if you have noticed, there was an extremely important debate about, of course, what it concerns all of us about the Ukraine war. And there was a panel who was defending with a lot of serious arguments the need to maintain the war going on. And the afternoon, just after 1 hour, we listen a different approach. People who say we have to use diplomacy in order to put an end to the suffering of the Ukrainians. Two approaches made in an independent, but also with respect to the other. So that is the added value of Nizami Ganjavi Forum. I don't want to be too long, but I will be a little longer than my dear friend, His Highness the Prince, because I cannot resist myself having this podium, having this opportunity to make a call for diplomacy. You will understand me. I come from diplomacy, I became a politician, but part of myself has been always trying to solve a problem and crisis peacefully, diplomatically. And we have to ask ourselves sincerely, what is diplomacy today? Where do we go? The first comment we have to say, and we have to really make a self-criticism, that diplomacy has failed because we were not able to stop the Russian aggression, the Russian invasion. How in the 21st century we were not able to use diplomacy to stop this war? Secondly, because I have to say yes to diplomacy and no to war. You will understand me, don't take wrongly. I will say war is not art. I have a Chinese friend, this famous book of Lu Su, The Art of War. There is not art in war. War is distraction, it's not creativity. The Guernica painting of Picasso in the wall of UN showed the horror of war. So war is not art. Secondly, war is not politics. As Hannah Arendt said, when there is war, there is no politics. There is no engagement, there is no discussion, there is no agreement, there is no compromise. And war is not legitimate unless you resist, you have self-defense. So I call for diplomacy, and diplomacy that we put, at the level of our main interlocutors, the capacity to solve peacefully the result. I always cherish myself during my time of EU special envoy to the Middle East, the words and the quote of former Prime Minister Rabin. If my memory doesn't fail, I think he used to say, and repeatedly, he said, I fight terrorism as there is no peace process, but I will show and look for peace even if there is no terrorism. So why we don't agree on that? Let's support Ukrainian resistance, let's support Ukrainian people, let's support Ukrainians to defend their rights and their territorial integrity. But at the same time, let's move diplomatically. Yes. At the same time, let's put an end to this horror. And that is what I have to say. I'm missing. There is no precondition to negotiate. That was my first lesson to my student in Sciences Po. So my dear friend, that is what I want to say. Thank you to Nizami Ganjavi. United Nations Arab Organization have a very good relationship, and I have a good news to announce to all of you today. The board of the consulting board of the Alliance of Civilization had decided to accept and request the honor of the presence of my dear friend, Baika Ferbar, to be a member of the board, and our chairman, Albert Musa. We welcome you, madam, to be one of the board. So, final word to my dear friend from India. He was asking me today, let's possibly to have a globalization of compassion. Yes, my dear friends, we have to globalize compassion. We have to globalize solidarity. We have to globalize fraternity. We have to globalize mutual respect. We have to live together in one humanity. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Miguel. And as you know, all of us here are very strong supporters of the UN. So sometimes it seems that the job of covering the globe is a bit big for the UN. So I brought you a little globe that you can hold in the palm of your hand. Thank you, Miguel Angel Moratinos. And now our guest of honor, Kailash Satyarthi. We were inspired by you earlier today. If you want to share something like the 3Ds in a few moments, mind you, of course, that we are holding people.
Thank you. Thank you, NJIC. This is the first time I'm attending Baku Global Forum. But let me confess a few things. I am truly feeling empowered. I feel more optimistic because I feel that I am sitting in the midst of a global family that is radiating hope, which is much needed in the world. We are making a community of humanity and compassion. We are making a community of resolve with a sense of urgency. Dear friends, sisters and brothers, we know most of the problems in the world. And we have enough knowledge to find solutions to those problems. But something is lacking. Sometimes I feel that we have enough thoughts, then we have enough words, and we have enough acts, but there is no alignment in these three, in our personal life, our social life, our political life. What we think, perhaps being too wise or diplomat, we don't speak the truth. And sometimes what we speak and promise, we have some inherent fear or barriers or blocks that stops us to act what we promise to our children, to our women, to our marginalized people. There are so many definitions and books and knowledge about peace and against war. But because of this gap between our thinking, our talking, and our actions, our deeds, is growing. And that is resulting in a lot of personal agonies, frustrations, mental health issues. We are struggling with ourselves and we are feeling disconnect within us. But we are also disconnected with our close ones and others, though we are connected through internet and technology and artificial intelligence in different ways. And that's why I strongly feel that when we globalized economy, markets, production, knowledge, technology, this is the time to globalize compassion. And if we, sitting in this Baku forum, are not committed to globalized compassion, if we are not converting the inherent power of compassion within each of one, which is biological, it is not preaching, it is much more biological, inherent in each one of us, but we keep it in small circles. The circles where our siblings, our biological children, or our parents come in, but this is the time. And we are the people. This is the place where we have to enlarge the circles of compassion. When we see something in the newspaper or in television, a group of children in some place in Ukraine is excused under the tunnels where the railway used to run, to protect themselves. They were screaming because the bomb cells were coming on the roof, on the top. Only a few months ago, these children were playing footballs. They were having dreams, they were laughing, they were talking, they were in schools. Whose children are they? They are our children. When I meet the group of children who were trafficked from the neighboring countries to work in Ivory Coast, in Koteva, in cocoa production field, having scars and injuries in their bodies. And when I sit with them and ask my brothers, how do you like chocolate? I feel ashamed when these children say they have never seen chocolate. They have never tasted chocolate. Whose children are they? When I sit with a small girl, 8-year-old girl in Pakistan, who was stitching footballs, and sometimes she makes the mistake with her needles, sucks the drops of blood immediately because it should not go on football, otherwise the master will beat her. And I asked her, my daughter, what do you want in the life when I free you from here? With the help of my Pakistani friends. The language was not the barrier, so I asked, what khwab you, khwab means dreams. She said, what is khwab? I pursued her to think that if miracle happens in her life, what she wanted to do. She said, if it happens, I wanted to kick the real football. That was the only dream. Who is going to fulfill these dreams of our children? When our children die in Africa out of hunger, in 20 years, the number of children died due to chronic poverty in African region, particularly in sub-Saharan Africa, is more than the number of people died due to military actions and operations during the entire 20th century. In all the wars, including the world wars. Whose children are they who are dying of hunger? World has never been so wealthier. World has never been so rich with knowledge and technology. But dear friends, I strongly feel that something which is lacking is compassionate actions, compassion in action. We have to enlarge the circles and globalize compassion. I'm not talking about empathy. Empathy is the feeling of suffering of others when you feel the suffering of others as your own. And empathic people are great people, good people. But how long and how far you can hold the suffering of so many people, so many issues in your brain, in your mind? Then we have to think of deeper solution, and that is compassion, because you feel the suffering of others as your own suffering with a drive to alleviate that suffering of others as your own suffering. That is compassion. I hope, as I said at the outset, that I feel much more optimistic. When I met some of you, some of the old friends whom I respect and love, it's always empowering. And I met many of the new friends yesterday, and it makes me to believe that whatever problems we have, crises we have, but nothing can beat the inner power of humanity. Nothing can beat the human conscience which is alive here in this room today. There was a heavy fire broken out in jungle. All animals were rushing for a safer place, including King Lion. And Lion noticed there was a tiny humming bird rushing straight towards the flames. And Lion shouted, "What are you doing? Committing suicide?" She replied, "No, sir. I was born and grew up here. I am going to extinguish this fire." He more surprisingly asked, "How come?" Tiny bird answered, "Sir, look at my beak. I am carrying a drop of water. I am doing my bit." This bird is inside each one of us. This bird is the compassion. We have to ignite it. We have to acknowledge it. We have to act on it. I am here just to make an appeal. Please, please, please, awaken that hummingbird and each one of us must do our bit to extinguish the fire of violence and bring about sustainable peace and justice and equality which everyone deserves. And I'm sure we will do it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, my friend. And we've been talking also about possibilities of doing something on a global scale with the youth in the not too distant future. Let me now turn to, we had a special session, which I think many people here reported back that they had really enjoyed a lot and learned a lot from it, which was a session about China. I'm happy to say that one of our friends, Dr. Shao Chak-Wing, the co-chair of our sort of global circle of outreach, has a video message because he couldn't be with us here.
尊敬的霍莱贝加主席、沙拉戈丁主席、各位嘉宾、女士们、先生们，晚上好。在过去3天的时间里，与会嘉宾围绕今日世界挑战与希望这一主题，深入探讨了安全治理、气候变化、能源危机、人类健康等全球性问题，就一些地区性问题进行了专题研讨，还特别邀请青年代表发言。这是一次内容丰富、高水平的论坛。与会嘉宾提出了许多重要政策的建议，对于应对全球性挑战、推动世界和平发展，将发挥重要的参考作用。在此，我要向阿里耶夫总统致以崇高的敬意，向尼扎米中心的全体会员和工作团队表示热烈祝贺，向与会的全体嘉宾表示衷心感谢。真是有了大家的大力支持和热情参与，第10届全球巴库论坛才能取得这样的成功。各位嘉宾，作为巴库论坛重要合作伙伴，2023成都国际论坛将计划于今年下半年在广州隆重举行。这将是疫情3年来第一次以线下形式举办。我真诚欢迎大家积极参与论坛活动。我在广州期待大家的光临。谢谢大家，祝大家度过一个愉快的晚上。
My profound thanks to Dr. Shao for his constant attention to NGIC and his support to everything we do. Now, the Alpha and the Omega are beginning and everything we do, and the person we always turn to for words of wisdom as we come to closing this global forum. I would like to call upon our beloved co-chair, Vaira Vikefra, Freiberger. Madam President, the floor is yours.
My dear co-chair, Your Royal Highness, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to be the one who will declare this 10th Baku Forum coming to a happy and successful end. The 10th anniversary of the Baku Forum means 10 years of growth and development and extension of our outreach as an organization. I would like to thank particularly all those who were there present and supportive at the creation of the Nizami Ganjali International Center. And foremost among them was the enthusiasm of President Ilham Aliyev and the mayor of Ganjal, the native city and the lifelong city of the great poet whose name we bear. The first steps were, of course, those of a newly created body, and it so happened that at the time, myself being the president of the Club de Madrid, as an organization of former presidents and heads of government, the collaboration with the experienced convening power of the Club de Madrid and the newborn Nizami Ganjali International Center and the creation of the Baku Forum was a fruitful collaboration. NGIC grew up very quickly as a new child, and the forum kept the pace. The International Board of Trustees oversees its running and also sees to the program to be chosen for each forum. I'd like to thank all those who, in very heated discussions, helped us to choose the theme for this 10th forum about the challenges and the hopes that face us all. I'm sure that many of you, like I myself, when you look at the news daily and you see the horrors happening in many parts of the world, you sometimes get discouraged and somewhat depressed about the horrors that people can perpetrate against each other, the evil that seems to abide in human nature, the will to do harm, to profit from others, to show one's superiority. There seems some instincts in us from our reptilian past as an evolutionary product of this planet that bring us constantly face to face with the evil that resides in human nature. And yet at the same time, as the demonic, we have the angelic, and that part is the one that you here represent. May I, on behalf of my colleagues of the International Board of Trustees, express our deep appreciation and our thanks to each and every one of you. This forum, as the preceding 9 ones, has achieved its status and its reputation and its quality because of every single person that participated in any one of the forums. And to those of you who participated in this 10th one, may I say, every single one of you is a precious jewel that we appreciate, whose presence we are grateful for, and who have enriched us with your presence and your insights and your hopes and your dreams and your complaints. We welcome you all, and we are reinforced, I think, and encouraged in our sense of the fellowship of humankind and of the angelic potential that our natures possess, and with our willingness to do away with all the isms that harm us as a planet, as a community of nations. The totalitarian isms, the ideological isms, the imperialism, the colonialism, the racism, and the ageism, by the way, are all sorts of isms that put labels on people, and along with the labeling seem to indicate that some are marked as plus and the others as minus. I was fascinated this afternoon to see the debate about how we are to present our young leaders in this forum. We had an active debate about it on the board, how best to highlight the achievements of the coming generation, their ideas, their innovative proposals, and their already gained experience despite their young age. And believe it or not, those of us who are of a certain age, we're not always like that. I, for one, actually used to be young. And I hope that the young leaders of today will be privileged enough to survive long enough to reach that age where at my generation, of course, I see many of my friends passing away, one after another. We cannot be labeled, we should not be labeled as either young or old, just as we should not be labeled as belonging to this race or that religion or another. I think a world without hyphenation, a world without labeling, is the kind of world we're looking for. And I do believe that most of you here, you wouldn't be here unless you believed in that same equality of the dignity of every single human being, no matter what the qualifying epithets you may attach to them. So thank you for being with us. Thank you for all that you do in your lives. Godspeed, safe return to your homes, and we hope to see you next year, and maybe in Guangzhou at the Imperial Springs Forum, which Dr. Chow Jak-wing has conceived, and which is a very interesting place of dialogue in a different part of the world from this one. Thank you very much, and good night.
I think that everyone will agree, and especially Dr. Farida, that there is no youth and there is no young leaders without the experience and support of the wisdom of the leaders, as Madam President Vaidika for everyone. I personally, for me, she's an iconic leader. Like, she's like my grandma, and whom we love, everyone in our office, because, and Dr. Ismail, because she built it up, this institution, with the board members, with the support of the president, and no word will be enough to be grateful to her for her support, for her leadership, for her strong hand. And there have been hard times for our institutions also. Her strong decision voice always been like helpful. And we have one small ceremony because it's appreciation from Albania. The Mediterranean University Republic of Albania, they will award Madam President with a honorary doctorate.
Good evening, Honorable Dr. Baya President Beka, President of my country, or our country. It is my great pleasure to represent the Mediterranean University of Albania in this very important ceremony of conferring the honorary degree Doctor Honoris Causa to Dr. Freiberga, former President of Latvia. I invite now the promoter, my colleagues, member of the Academic Senate of Mediterranean University of Albania, to present their report for Mrs. Freiberga. First, Mr. Anastas Angeli, President of University. It's a member of the Academy of Science of Albania and also ex-Minister of Finance and Economy of Albania.
Honorable Dr. Freiberga, distinguished guest, distinguished President of Albania, dear friends, it is my great honor to be part of the ceremony of awarding the title Doctor Honoris Causa to Dr. Freiberga on behalf of Mediterranean University of Albania, title that was conferred from the Ministry of Education of Albania in the meantime. Dr. Freiberga is one of those rare public figures in Latvia whose integrity and diligence shine through these difficult periods in uphold the universal values of freedom, democracy and justice in ways which have been felt beyond the borders of her own country. Such beliefs and principles cannot remain within borders, national or temporal. She has dedicated herself to these values through her involvement in projects with the European Union and integrating her country into the largest European family. Dr. Freiberga has had the opportunity to implement practices embodying these moral standards during her time spent serving her country as well as during her long and rich academic career. Dr. Freiberga is distinguished as a political spokeswoman in general, but also for her scientific policy during her time as psychology and interdisciplinary studies professor. In her position as a board's member, such this board, and patron in different international organizations, she continued to make an outstanding contribution to empowerment of women in leadership in all aspects. Therefore, it was my great pleasure to recommend Dr. Freiberga in the Academic Senate of Mediterranean University of Albania to be awarded with the title Doctor Honoris Causa. Thank you.
Now, we add something, Prorector of the University, Mr. Abenzizi.
Madam President, it was really great honor to me to propose to the Senate of the University of Albania, the Mediterranean University, to give you the Doctor Honoris Causa. The philosophy of our university is based on three very important principles, three pillars guiding and compass: veritas, integritatem, and fidem. Who better than you, Madam President, has incarnated these principles in her life, all experience, private and professional, academic and scientific, political and leadership work? No one. Your life is like a novel, where on every page you can read and get inspired and motivated. Find hope and faith, discover the truth and prove integrity. It's like an unmistakable mirror of peace. You gave us the example that The fight for the truth is difficult, but not impossible. You show us that the light gives you the strength to discover in the midst of the darkness of oppression the light to freedom and faith. The light that society and the whole world needs today. The world today is overwhelmed by many crises, political, economic, social, philosophical and moral. It has fallen into the old trap of the historical debate between war and peace, precisely because the principles for which you continue to fight have moved from the axis of society and changed direction. But you are tireless and dedicated and at the same time convinced that the world in peace is built only by counting on these principles. Your contribution to the humanities, sciences has multidimensional character and very deep effect, especially to the political one, on the benefit of the political society. Your academic spirit gave a new, very refined approach to politics, which turns not only the attention on the society, but also starts to communicate and to think how to resolve problems. Your close association with the truth, integrity, and faith has created a model of success that shines and gives meaning to both human relations and public nature of politics and diplomacy. It's a privilege that the Mediterranean University of Albania will be ranked alongside many other international organizations and well-known academies in the assessment of the figure of President Vaida Hike Freiberga. I would especially thank Nizami Ganyali International Center for creating this golden opportunity to participate in the 10th anniversary of the Baku Global Forum and organize this awarding ceremony for one of the most outstanding contributors to this center and this forum. Thank you, Madam President, for accepting us.
We'll read the motivation and giving the award to Mrs. Freiberg.
For all activity and contribution, I have the pleasure now to award the title Doctor Honoris Causa to Dr. Freiberga with the motivation for outstanding contribution and special merits for globally promoting and supporting democratic leadership in order to prevent and resolve conflict, secure peace through mediation, promoting good governance, and in the form of democratic institutions, open market, human rights, and the rule of law, as well as for globally promoting and supporting women in leadership.
And we invite Mrs. Dr. Freiberga to have the acceptance award.
distinguished dignitaries of the Mediterranean University of Albania, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, as an academic for much of my life, I cannot be but deeply touched by the affording of Doctor Honoris Causa on my humble person. The first PhD that a person earns is the one that they have to work the hardest for. You really have to put in a good deal of effort to get it. But the honoris causa is something apart. It means recognition beyond your own field of endeavor and the boundaries of your own country. I am most grateful for this honor from a country that I knew very little about until the fall of the Berlin Wall and the dissolution of the Soviet Union. Much like Azerbaijan, they were just names of faraway places that under the communist rule of the time, there was no chance and no hope of ever visiting and being acquainted with. Whereas when I repatriated to my native land, now freedom having been gained with the dissolution of the USSR, I had the opportunity to work shoulder to shoulder with the President of Albania at the time in the promoting the enlargement of NATO that was very contested and also took a lot of effort at the time. And I remember a special meeting where the President of Albania said to Lord Robertson, George Robertson at the time, the Secretary General of NATO, he said, "But George, we're all friends here. Is there any chance that you could sort of give us a sort of easy way of entering the alliance?" And the Secretary of NATO said, "No, I'm sorry, every country will have to be ready and answer to the criteria." And I can only say that in Latvia we are immensely happy and grateful to our fate for having been accepted in NATO together with Albania, because we feel much more secure when we go to bed each night with the certainty that we will not be alone should anybody decide to attack us. I think the breaking down of the Iron Curtain, the Berlin Wall, barriers, physical barriers of that time, was a wonderful step in the development of humanity. So let us beware of building up new walls, new barriers, new difficulties of communicating, of dialogue, and of contact. Just getting to know different countries is an experience in itself. Just being with you here in the very great diversity of your presence is an experience. I am most humble and grateful for the honor afforded me, and I give my best wishes to all the students of the Mediterranean University. May they use their study time to develop their minds to the fullest, to reach the maximum of their intellectual potential, and may they, in their careers, support and inspiration to the people of Albania and the rest of the continent and of the world. My best wishes to your Albanian students, and thank you for your honor. I am offering, in gratitude, two books of mine, The Cosmological Sun of Latvian Folklore, and The Seven Beauties of Nizami and Other Literary Essays, in the publication of which I received the support of the Nizami Anjali International Center for the library and for yourself.
Thank you, and for this comment, it's a very honor for us. You are member, honorific member of the Senate of University, Mediterranean University of Albania. Thank you very much.
just few minutes, because now we become part of this great and big family. For my old friend, with that contributed too much to this center, to this forum, I have some special gift for him. My friend, please.
Your Excellencies, now you are going to enjoy the dinner, but before starting, just small comments. We have, as an appreciation from NGIC family to the Republic of Albania, and especially to His Excellency Mr. President entirely for supporting us. This is special because what NGIC is trying to do is supporting a woman entrepreneurship, local women who are doing art pieces, and this is from the newly liberated part of Azerbaijan. It is handmade like carpets copy. I hope that Your Excellency Mr. President, you will enjoy it at your office. And also, just bear in mind that this dinner is also dedicated to the people of the Republic of Turkey and Syria for the victims that they suffered. And thanks to our members, thanks to our supporters, we already collected number of iPads for the victims, for the children to be able, but we will be presenting it to His Excellency Ambassador after the number of courses that, just enjoy your time, and we'll talk soon.
Ladies and gentlemen, excellencies, just a minute please. We're asking for your attention. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being with us. Thank you. Eka, the floor is yours.
Well, good evening, excellencies, dear friends, all of the participants of the forum and of the dinner today. We have a little bit of a ceremony that we want to perform. Some of it is connected with a little bit of sadness, but some is more of a celebratory in nature. Roshan already mentioned in the beginning tragedy that has shattered our hearts, tragedy that fell upon people of Turkey and Syria, but then tragedy that was heartbreaking for all of us, felt by all of us, and acknowledged by all of us. We want to acknowledge today a little bit of the contribution that we could have made as an organization, the Islamic Anjabi Center, as members of the board, some of the prominent members of the organization, Mrs. Mariana Bardonianis, Dr. Chow as well, that made the contributions for us to be able to give the tools for children of Turkey to be able for them to continue their education unhindered during the times when they are dislocated, left without homes, and in that regard having more hardship to continue their education. It's the modern technology with iPads that we will be able to deliver. There are some of them represented here today. And we would ask His Excellency Ambassador of Turkey to join us today to express our greetings to him, condolences with the loss, and once again to acknowledge from our side that it's only one step that we have made, but then we continuously will try to contribute and be of help as much as we can.
Distinguished guests, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of my country, Turkey, I would like to express my deepest thanks to President İlham Aliyev, First Vice President Mihriban Aliyeva, and also the great people of Azerbaijan for their support and solidarity with Turkey after the great tragic earthquakes. And also I would like to thank to all countries and international organizations that will stand with Turkey, send their rescue teams and also the humanitarian aid to Turkey. We strongly believe that the people of Azerbaijan have felt our pain as their pain and their hearts beat for Turkey. We felt our brotherhood deeply. We appreciate for these meaningful presence that will contribute to the survival and normalization of earthquake victims. Thank you for being and standing with us. Thank you very much. Deliver all the iPads to the victims of earthquake, especially for the citizens. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, as a tradition, as last year, we are giving a small trophy, which presents the Tree of Peace. The Tree of Peace is a creation about a sculpture that imagine peace for the nations, peace between people, and also the three religions. You can see in the branches, you can see the three religions, the Muslim, the Christian, and the Jewish religions. It's living together, it's interface and intercultural dialogue. This sculpture was adopted like a symbol at UNESCO, and I'm Goodwill Ambassador for Cultural Diplomacy of UNESCO, and we have a special program which is the Road to Peace. And this sculpture is the symbol, as I said, of the Road to Peace, with a very interesting program all about peace, interface, intercultural dialogue, and also against racism, on a program racism, cyber peace. And last May, 76 countries voted for this program, which is the Road to Peace, symbolized by this sculpture. This trophy is given, please, to Kailash Satyarth, Nobel Prize laureate 2014. Please come here. Got this prize at the Pope Shimon Peres and Sheikh Al-Sina and some others, Imam of Timbuktu, and many people. The UNESCO Director General of UNESCO is giving it, and now Nizami Ganjavi adopted this prize. The second trophy, and I'm very honored that this year, Mr. and the Alliance of Civilization, first of all, he is a part of the board of Nizami Ganjavi, and also to tell you a secret, that the first big sculpture of the Tree of Peace that is here in Azerbaijan was inaugurated by the Alliance of Civilization. It was in 2014.
I know exactly. Yeah. She's a very What's happening? Very nice to meet you.
A little bit of your time, but we are very happy to
Thank you all. Just last minute, very important one. Ravsha, where are you? Ravsha. Ladies and gentlemen, there is a magic in this room. Right? You agree there is a magic? And there is a magic word behind that. I would say even a magic name. Now, you all go to so many conferences, but you would agree that the Global Baku Forum is unique. It's the only one. And why is that? Just think about why is that. It's very simple. Because the Global Baku Forum makes us feel like a family. We care of each other. We hear to each other. We work together. And we love. Dear friends, if you think about the magic, because conferences, Davos, Munich, but it's just Baku and nobody else with this magic, here is my very simple explanation to why we love this atmosphere tonight and why will be even more next year. And the magic word to me is actually a magic name, and that name is Ravsha. Ravsha, come with us here. Ravsha, no, come here. We want you to look at the audience, and on behalf of the audience, Ravsha, we are telling you, You are the very best that Azerbaijan represents. You are hardworking, you are shy, you are modern, you are competent, and you're the heart of our organization. Our very simple message to you is stay tuned to who you are, and we will be very happy to see your successes in the future. Thank you for what you do to all of us. Thank you, Rosh.
If I may add, we have very soon, it's already on Monday, celebration that is approaching, which is a birthday. We've had a list of celebration dates that we've announced. We did that last night as well. But then since it's the last dinner that we served during the forum, we wanted once again to congratulate you ahead of the time.
So the message is stay until Monday to celebrate our birthday.
Thank you. Happy birthday.